I want to touch on making love versus fucking and Brody's scale of sexual attraction, right? I think sexual integration is something that can really be broken down in terms of making love versus fucking and how these different things are associated to Brody's scale of sexual attraction. So I'm going to put it like this, right? Until you reach a certain level of sexual attraction with a woman, there's certain things that occur, right? Certain things that occur. So if we're talking about a 5 level of sexual attraction, right? Something that is completely transactional. A woman is not interested in making love with you, right? She's not. Just do your thing, get up out of there. She wanted to be over with quick, or as quick as it can be, and boom, she up out of there, right? On the 6th level of sexual attraction, that's the premature integration range. That's where the effort that you put in is what's going to do it. Typically, when a man pursues a woman in this particular way, she's not anticipating sex is going to last that long in the first place, right? And for most men, it's not. So in this range, things work a little bit different, but 6 and the 7 level is a little similar on this. On the 7 level of sexual attraction, a lot of men who have experience with women at the 7 level of sexual attraction, which is the comfort, plausible deniability range, a woman is not truly receptive to your dominance at a 7 level of sexual attraction. So when a woman's not fully receptive to your dominance, you might think that she likes soft, gentle, slow sex, right? So many men make the mistake of trying to make love to a woman when they're at a certain level of sexual attraction to where a woman's just not receptive to their dominant energy. So it's not that the woman wants to emotionally connect during sex. It's just more so that the woman is trading sex for love, or she's trading sex for the idea of love or emotions or emotional comfort. So when a woman's trading sex for comfort, the way that relates to sex is that in a man's mind, if he doesn't know the difference, he can think that he's making love to a woman when really he's just offering her comfort. That's the level of sexual attraction where in a woman's mind, she may say to you, your dick is perfect because the bigger ones hurt. That's kind of like how the 7 level works, right? Now, on the 8 level of sexual attraction, things tend to flip completely, right? Because that's the pure level of sexual attraction. At this range, a lot of women have a gentleman gigolo complex. So where they don't want the emotional comfort because they're sexually attracted to you to a level to where they don't need the emotion. They don't need the extra shit to go along with having sex. So at an 8 level of sexual attraction for a woman, she typically wants you to beat that pussy up. She wants you to fuck her. She don't want all that emotional stuff, right? That's on a pure level. But then when you get up to a 9 level, that's where a woman actively desires you. When a woman actively desires you on a certain level, right, at that 9 level, that's where you're able to have slow sex with a woman and still give her orgasm from penetration. That's where she desires you on a level to where things that would typically be seen as emotional or feminine energy would still arouse her. So at the 9 level of sexual attraction, things that you think work at a 7 level actually do work, right? And a big part of what I'm breaking down here is the 9-7 dichotomy. You got to understand that if you're giving a woman emotional energy when she doesn't have a pure level of sexual attraction to you that's high enough, then really you're just trading emotional comfort for access to her body. And when you're trading emotional comfort for access to a woman's body, it's pretty much still transactional sex, even if you're not spending money. So many men think they're making love when really they're just taking it easy on a woman who is not receptive to their dominance. But at that 9 level, it's the 9-7 dichotomy, right? Just like if you take a woman out on a date at a 7 level, she's seeing it as she's interviewing you, right? She sees it as she's interviewing you. And because she's interviewing you, if you make her feel comfortable throughout that date, that she's going to be comfortable enough to go to sex with you, right? It's about plausible deniability. So she's not going to be comfortable enough for you to be upfront about your intentions. But if you, quote unquote, play your cards right, then you can hit it. At a 7 level of sexual attraction, a woman pretty much is treating the date like a job interview to see if she's willing to fuck with you. She's treating that link up like she's deciding if she's going to have sex with you, right? But she wouldn't do it if you came out and said that's what you wanted to do before you pull up. But you got to finesse. You got to finesse. But at a 9 level, if you take a woman out on a date, one, she might be willing to pay for it herself. But on another note, on a 9 level of sexual attraction, that date is something that's not necessary for her. So while she's sitting there in your presence, she actively desires you. So she's getting more and more aroused the longer she's in your presence, right? You know, just like at an 8 level, sexual attraction is your forwardness, it's your aggression that sexually attracts her to you, right? But at a 9 level, right? At that 9 level, when, let's say you take a woman out, you're trying to use foreplay, you are taking your time to try to arouse her and talk to her, get her turned on, you're shooting her certain looks. When you're out on that date, she's getting super aroused. So by the time that date is over, she might not even want to make it all the way through. She really wants to go. So now you're making her wait for it. That's different. At a 9 level, it's more so if you go out on a date, the woman sees it as she's ready already. So she's just getting soaked. It's like pleasure denial. It's like edging. In foreplay, different things like that, it has that same effect at a 9 level to where she's just getting further and further aroused. And that pleasure denial, it works the same way. It's just like edging outside of the bedroom at a 9 level of sexual attraction. Just seeing you, hearing the vibrations in your voice, looking at you, you looking into her eyes, her getting shy, looking away. Those different things are arousing her the entire time she's in your presence. So it's not so much a matter of you trading that intimacy or that time or your presence for access to her body through validation. It's more so that she feels validated to be in your presence. Instead of having to feel honored by you to be with you, she feels honored to be with you in the first place. Right? So you got to think about that. You got to think about that, man. So I think it's very important to understand how Brody's scale of sexual attraction relates to making love versus fucking. And this is why I say that a man should start at an 8 level, right? At the very minimum of 7.5. Because when you start at the 8 level and you see that a woman's receptive to your masculinity and your dominance, you don't start off trying to make love to a woman. You don't start off being super gentle with a woman, right? You start off with, you give her those opportunities to experience your masculinity and your dominance. And after you vet that woman and you spend time with that woman and you actually build a genuine emotional connection on a basis of her being attracted to the polarity of the situation, your masculinity and your dominance, then when a woman reaches a certain place with you, then when you give her them slow strokes, then when you give a woman that slow sex, then she can get off on that, right? But the thing to think about it is this: when you at an 8 level of sexual attraction, a woman is probably not going to have orgasm from slow strokes, right? It's not going to be something that she's aroused enough to experience. It's your aggression and your dominance that takes her to that place. So you can give a woman orgasms at an 8 level of sexual attraction, right? You can do that strictly from penetration. But the difference is that it's going to be your aggression that does it. You don't have to beat it up to do it. You have to pretty much damn near jackhammer a woman to do it, right? At a 7 level, she's probably not going to have orgasm from penetration at all. That's the go DJ range, right? But at that 9 level, that's where she's so aroused that even those slow strokes can do it for her. Now, as it is, if you have a very large penis, then an 8.5 might be able to work for her with the slow strokes. But I'm just talking about regular dude or in the lower large range, right? So these things relate in a variety of ways, and it's just some stuff to think about. Because I don't think many people have touched on this particular topic, but making love versus fucking works different at different levels of a woman's sexual attraction to you as a man. Like, if you're really adept at understanding what I talk about with Brody scale of sexual attraction, you'll notice that if you've had certain experiences at a certain level, a woman doesn't even really require or desire for you to even eat the pussy or to kiss her during sex or to do none of that emotional shit once she has a pure level of sexual attraction and lust for you. Because at the 8 level, that emotional connection that you give her, or that emotional stimulation, that validation you give her, is something that causes her to feel like you're less masculine, or it makes it feel like you're trying to blur the lines in a way that makes her feel unsafe. So it'll drop you down some, or she'll grow accustomed to that. And when she grows accustomed to that, she's going to lose respect for you, or she's going to lose attraction to you. So trying to be too soft with sex at an 8 level of sexual attraction is something that can make a woman feel unsafe, and then she'll shut down. So even at an 8 level, she desires that roughness, right? Once a woman desires your dick on a pure level, for most women, they don't desire or require that extra added benefit of you being soft and emotional and gentle with them. But at a 9 level, when a woman actively desires you sexually, then the things that would be seen as emotional or feminine are things that add to it, because that softness kind of works more so like edging. The softness kind of works more so like pleasure denial, right? That gentleness, that slow sex, that slow wine, that slow grind, right? When you just working, you stirring like you're trying to bend the spoon. If you understand what I'm saying, I'm speaking a little bit in code. But at that level, that's where, if you have any type of a genuine emotional connection with a woman, then sex can mix with emotions, right? You got to understand that gentleness, that softness is something that a woman has to have a high enough desire and respect level for you, for that not to turn into transactional sex, right? Because transactional sex is more than just money. It's also emotional validation, social validation, comfort, things of the like. So this is like the 9-7 dichotomy, right? Just like at a 7 level of sexual attraction, a woman pretty much requires you to eat her pussy as, entryway into her box, right? At an 8 level, a woman often is going to desire you on a certain level to where your aggression is what turns her on. So just a little bit of foreplay, she's going to be ready to fuck because she already desires you sexually. But she's probably not even going to desire or require that you eat her pussy at an 8 level. But at a 9 level, if you come along with the head as well, then that's just going to feel like a cherry on top. It's going to feel like the sprinkles, right? And the emotional connection, the intimacy of it at a 9 level is something that takes that and it pushes it above, right? It pushes it above. There's certain things that could be seen as sexually submissive or somewhat feminine sexual energy on a 9 level of sexual attraction that puts a woman into a position to where she desires the dick first and foremost. But when you do those other things, it takes it to the very next level, right? Like, there's some men who don't believe in eating pussy, who don't believe in sucking toes, don't believe in eating ass, don't believe in kissing a woman during sex, don't believe in doing anything that will be considered, in their eyes, feminine sexual energy. And there's a difference between a woman not requiring those things, not desiring those things, and a woman not even really thinking about that. But then when you do it, it just takes it to the next level. So this is the 9-7 dichotomy, making love versus fucking, and how it relates to Brody's scale of sexual attraction. And really, most of this, you can kind of almost discount that stuff, because most relationships are going to be between a 6 level of sexual attraction to an 8 level of sexual attraction, but most are 6 to 7 level, right? And when you understand that, you know why most women talk about how they don't like men who jackhammer, how men need to just focus on the clit, how men need to do this, how men need to do that, or how they don't like certain things. They don't like big dicks. That's because their sexual attraction is not high enough, right? When a woman has a 9 level of sexual attraction, that's where you're in a place with a woman to where you can open her up. She's so aroused to where you can stretch her to be able to encompass a larger penis than she's used to, right? When a woman's at a place where she desires you on a purely sexual level, and her arousal level reaches a high enough place, then you can stretch her. See, the 8 level is the sex for sex range, right? But at the 9 level, that's where you have a capacity to stretch a woman beyond what she's used to and beyond what she thinks she's comfortable with ahead of time, right? So that can mean stretching a woman through how dominant you are. So at a 9 level, that's where a woman is typically going to be comfortable with you calling her out her name during sex. That's where a woman's typically going to be comfortable with you spitting in her mouth, where she's going to be comfortable with you putting a thumb in her ass, or her being comfortable with maybe you smacking her during sex. these are certain things that occur around that 9 level. Now at the 8 level, that's more so just pulling her hair, maybe a thumb in her ass, smacking her ass, choking her. These are things she's going to like at that level, but it's still going to be pushing a little bit. But at that 9 level, that's where you can do things that take her outside of the box. Now, on one hand, you're taking her outside of the box as far as your aggression, but you can also stretch her capacity, right? Stretch her capacity for emotional intimacy during sex on a 9 level of sexual attraction. So this Brody scale of sexual attraction, how it relates to making love versus fucking, right? The 9-7 dichotomy. Brody, I'm out.